The State of Real Estate with your host, Gerry Lantaigne.
Hello and welcome to the State of Real Estate. I'm your host, Gerry Lantaigne. On today's episode, we're going to focus on the world of real estate in Muskoka during the coronavirus era. Let's start with the market report, comparing statistics from pre-COVID May 2019 to this May, amid corona lockdown, May 2020, to see how the pandemic has impacted real estate in Muskoka. We'll start with new listings of homes for sale in Muskoka for the month of May. They have dropped from 415 in 2019 to 297 in the month of May of 2020. That's a 28.4% decrease from last May to this May. That, though, however, is above the provincial average, which has a negative 41.8% less listings than last May to this May. The good news is that listings are up from April to May of this year. April being a more severe impact on lockdown by people. So that's 62.8% more new listings from April to May of this year. Homes for sale. There were 572 homes for sale in May 2020 in Muskoka compared to last May when there were 697 homes for sale, and that is a 17.9% drop in that inventory. The provincial average of inventory has dropped by over 25.7% of last year, and in Muskoka, we have seen an increase of 20.45% in inventory from April to May of this year alone, and it shows signs that people are becoming a little more optimistic and starting to get back into the real estate market. As far as actual homes that have been sold in Muskoka, for May of this year, that number was 131 compared to 183 homes that were sold in 2019, pre-COVID. That is a drop of 28.4% in actual homes sold. In this category, Muskoka is faring better than the provincial average, which has seen a decrease of 39.4% in actual home sales from this May to last May. And again, as with the other stats, here in Muskoka, good news is happening as house sales have increased by more than 50% from April 2020 to May 2020. And in summary, the real estate activity in Muskoka is doing a little better than the Ontario provincial average. Muskoka property values are still strong and the market is active. However, the coronavirus pandemic has impacted the decision of buyers and sellers. Perhaps many are waiting out the current crisis before making the decision to buy or sell. That being said, the real estate market in Muskoka is already showing signs of improving from when the coronavirus lockdown first started. The promising rise in our statistics from April to May 2020 show that people are eager to get back into the business of real estate as we ease out of the containment lockdown. That's the market report for May 2020.
The State of Real Estate with your host, Gerry Lantaigne.
On Tuesday, March the 24th of 2020, Premier Doug Ford issued an order that all non-essential businesses were to close. Real estate, however, was deemed an essential service, but business is far from normal. As Ontario continues in a state of emergency over the coronavirus, all persons working in real estate have a duty to minimize physical contact with customers and clients. My guest today is Sharon Bussa, broker at Sutton Group Muskoka. Sharon, welcome to the show.
Hi, Gerry. Thank you.
And thank you for being here. This whole situation is a game changer. There's the entire real estate industry and most of the world
normal.
Is brand new in the whole new normal. In an industry that's built on personal relationships and tactile appreciation and interaction.
Yeah.
How can people safely buy, sell, and lease real estate in Muskoka during this period?
Well, we have changed. We've had to go more virtual and everything online and a little less person to person, straight up.
let's talk about virtual tours. I mean, this was already started. It was something that agents who were sort of up on things and into technology were already using, but not everybody. And now this is how you go about things. So what is a virtual showing?
A virtual showing, we pick a time with our cameras, and can be as simple as a cell phone, right? And you're going in, you can be FaceTiming your client, and you're
so they can see the home in real time with you.
Yes,
Yeah.
and then they can be saying, whoa, slow down, I want to see that kitchen. Can you open those cupboards? And again, we'll be having gloves on, masks.
Yep.
It doesn't look quite as pretty as it used to, but it's workable.
Yeah.
And we can do that first, especially if they're at a distance and they don't want to be traveling up for the day, and they can be taking a look at those places without actually.
Yeah, and instead of going into people's homes, which creates a situation where the people in the home need to be safe, the people coming into the home need to be safe.
So
everyone needs to be aware.
Sellers do need to make sure that they have left the home before a client comes through too, to take a peek, and the less people in. And again, do your talking outside the home. So if you go through the home quickly with your client, then outside to ask the questions.
We'll run over that one a little later too.
Yeah.
So we talked about the video walkthrough. So I mean, that can already be on the listing. They can already see this video of a walkthrough of the house. And then there's 360 virtual tours.
Yes, where it creates a dollhouse, and again, you can click along and go up to the ceiling, down to the floor, take a look at that pattern in the carpet.
So this is a 360 degree photograph of the complete interior of the home, every room, every nook and cranny. And then it's all laid out, and you can actually virtually guide yourself through that house.
Absolutely.
But there's also
follow the arrows and the bouncing dots.
That's right. And then there's also 360 degree video products that are out there now.
Yes.
So this is, technology has come a very long way in a very short time, and incredibly enough, it is extremely apropos for the conditions we happen to be under right now.
Absolutely.
With the safety factors
Thank
that are
goodness
involved.
we have them, because if not, we'd be lost.
Yeah. And again, something really simple as an agent can even just start taking more photographs, more detailed photographs of what the counters really look like. Open the counters and take pictures, or we'll see, those are dicey things too. But so then coming to the contracts, the actual signing of contracts, there are a myriad of contracts that need to be signed. Usually this is done in person at the buyer or seller's home. But this is unsafe nowadays.
So we start with emails, and you go back and forth with the details. What do you want to pay? What inclusions are there? Exclusions? All of those things. But before we even get to an offer stage with those deals, we have to do the COVID health disclosure forms, and the buyer rep deal. And
buyer rep agreement. So the buyer representation agreement, for those of you who don't know, is a contract that is made between the real estate agent and gives the real estate agent authority from you to represent them in a sales transaction.
Yes, and it's usually for a time period, so that you have that, and a location area, so that you have that time and that space, like time frame to look for things in
among other
in
documents that
criteria.
need to be signed.
Absolutely. So those things are easily done, again, through emails. It's all click and easily done, because it's step by step. So everything is marked out where initials need to go, signatures and dates.
And I was just going to get to that. How do we sign a document without actually having been there personally?
Yes. So you pick, a signature font that looks.
But this
very
is
similar,
there are a number of different types of software programs that do that, right?
Absolutely.
Which is electronic signature.
Yes,
signing.
and usually each office has signed up into a group of what that office uses for a technology base.
So hands-free, hands-off, no worry about contamination. I've signed the contract electronically, and it goes in real time back to my lawyer or whoever needs to sign it next, and then negotiations take place that way. Now, sometimes, and this has happened with me, I've had to go in person with my clients because there's some kind of a situation that needs to be resolved, and that would be something that can be done by video conferencing now. Instead of getting together with 2 or 3 people, like a lot of times a contractor would have had to come in
Right.
To look at the
like a home
property.
inspection can be done now with a virtual tour.
Yeah.
And if the client wants to come, maybe they can come for like the last few minutes of the home inspection and
Yep.
have just a few of the highlights pointed out to them,
Yeah.
as opposed to being there for the full 2-3 hours of the home inspection like it used to be. So,
Right.
and then again, the home inspectors will use a video camera or their cell phone and point things out that way, pictures and a report given to the client.
So basically, most everything that needs to be done in our industry can be done as a virtual experience or electronically. And then it does get down to the fact, and we'll touch on this in the second half of the show, but there does need to be a physical showing at some point. I mean,
Yes.
for the most part,
Most of us do not
Yeah.
want to even buy a car without taking a look
Yeah.
at,
Yeah.
like there's basic
Yeah.
things. We want to be able to have that last minute double check that this is really what we want to invest our money in
Yeah.
during this time.
And then when we get around to the finalization of a contract, there's usually the transfer of money by deposit checks being made with money orders or bank drafts, which are often done in person. How do we get about that now?
Again, electronically
Yeah, that's what it
and,
is, yeah.
and wire transfers can
Yeah.
be done. Large sum transfers can be done through banking and all online.
Excellent. So for the most part, we can navigate our way through the buying and selling and leasing of properties electronically, virtually, digitally. So it looks like things are able to move, and
Absolutely.
it is like the market hasn't stalled.
It has not.
No, it has not stalled.
Things are still busy.
Yep.
Lots of action out there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's just maybe a little bit more time consuming than it used to be. But overall, we're making things work.
Perfect. Well, thanks a lot, Sharon. We're going to come back after a commercial break here and talk a little more in depth about some of the regulations surrounding COVID-19 and the real estate industry.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Thank you.
The State of Real Estate with your host, Gerry Lantaigne.
Welcome back to the State of Real Estate. I'm your host, Gerry Lantaigne. My guest again is Sharon Bussa from Sutton Group Muskoka Realty, and she is a broker there. Sharon, things have definitely changed in the real estate industry.
That's for sure.
What are the current rules and regulations surrounding COVID-19 regarding real estate transactions?
Well, right now, we are not having open houses. So everything is definitely going virtual. It's going online, and we're doing these things without the in-person contact.
Yeah. And so when you first approach a client regarding a listing, I mean, they really have to be aware that everything's changed, that the selling techniques have been very much altered. So
Yes.
we're not going to be having open houses, like you said. We're not going to be parading people in and out of your house, as many as we can.
Right.
That's unsafe.
No, it's not safe. Exactly. And our first priority is, of course, health and safety of everyone, right?
Yeah.
Which is why we need the health disclosure form signed ahead of time by clients, both the seller and the buyer. And we need to make sure that we ourselves stay safe and healthy.
So no open houses, but in-person showings are allowed.
Yes.
With guided restrictions. You just mentioned the waivers that need to be
Yes.
signed. Basically, it's a health disclosure. Can we talk about that in detail? Like, what is the seller's responsibility in terms of a health disclosure, COVID-19, making sure that they and their home are safe for
Right.
our clients to come into?
Exactly. So, it's sort of the standard one of you traveled outside the country in the last 14 days? Have you been in contact with somebody that has?
So this is a document that has to be signed
Yes.
and checked all the little boxes off
Yes.
to make sure that is the case.
Again,
And
for
that
the-
home is safe.
The seller, buyer, and ourselves. We
Right.
all need to make sure that we're literally on
Right,
the
the
same
real
page.
estate agent has to have a health disclosure, and the buyers who are coming into the home to look at it have to have a health disclosure
Yes,
as well.
absolutely. And of course, we don't want any more than 2 people at
Yeah.
the showing, and no children, please. Because
Yeah.
again, we want families to be safe. We're
Yeah.
here for the family.
Yeah. And I had a situation myself where there were more than 2 people that needed to come in and see the place, so we had to let one of them wait outside.
Yeah.
One came in, one came out, gloves and mask,
Absolutely.
and on. And again, these are the
And
restrictions.
Please try not to touch surfaces. Please try not to open doors, closets, doorknobs. You know, all of those standard things.
I know.
A big one. Please don't use the washroom.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, again, I'm Mr. Tactile. I love touching surfaces. Like, I mean, that's something that I would feel the marble counter and go, oh, I like this marble counter, you know, and what a beautiful feature this is. I know. So, you know, there's no touching and tactility.
Absolutely
And again, you know, you've got your gloves on already.
Yes.
And they have to be only worn once.
Absolutely.
Yeah, even from one showing to the next.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, you know, put them on when you get out of your car, not in your car where you're touching your steering wheel and
Right.
everything still. So outside, hand sanitize first, then put your gloves on and your mask, and in you go. And yes, everything off afterwards. And do a lot of your conversations outside.
Yeah.
And because social distancing is very challenging sometimes when you're in a kitchen or in a living room. So outside you go and talk about it there.
And absolutely no children,
That's
as
what we
you
said.
mentioned.
No children.
It sounds mean, but
It does.
you know,
But-
kids are kind of uncontrollable. You can't control what they're going to touch, what they're going to grab.
It's hard to control you sometimes, Jerry. I know, right?
It's true.
Seriously.
It's the truth.
So,
And I've done a ton of showings where I've got my 2 clients, but the sister's coming along, or the aunt and the brother want to see the
Right,
house
'cause they
too.
wanna have an
They're not buying
opinion.
it, but they want to come in and take a look. And the father-in-law, he's the one who's going to be judging whether the home's good or not. And,
yes, because you know they've looked at more homes than the new couple.
but we
or
call
the-
them non-direct buyers.
Absolutely.
What's the deal with non-direct buyers?
Please, you know, take the pictures to them. Show
Yeah.
them the things that we have online, or the websites and the floor plans and the geo warehouse and the maps.
Yeah, so effectively, non-direct buyers are prohibited from
Please.
coming into showings at this time.
Yes. So
So-
just the people that their names are gonna go on the offer.
Oh, well, while inside the home,
Yes.
buyers and realtors need to socially distance,
Yes.
which is, you know, it's a doable thing.
Absolutely.
It's strange trying to get used to that. It's almost, I compare it to fencing.
Yes.
As I step forward, you step back. Ooh,
Right.
Oh, it's this jab and
Absolutely. It's
jive.
the
But
duel.
yeah, I know I've seen the dance a few times. It's kind of funny, but this is where we are right now, in the safety value of what we're dealing with, the unknown of this coronavirus. And
Absolutely.
if we need and want to have real estate as an essential service, this is how we have to get
And-
about it.
Honestly, people have to move for job relocation, for all sorts of, there's reasons why we are essential services. We need to be able to do these things. We have to do them safely.
Yeah, and the purchase of a house is the one of the biggest things most people will actually do in their lives financially.
Absolutely.
Now, there are, and we talked a little bit about it earlier, but there are unavoidable in-person activities, such as home inspections, appraisals, surveys. Now, you mentioned that some of these things can be done digitally.
Yeah.
In the past, I've always recommended and absolutely been adamant about my clients being at the home inspection, because
Right.
they need to know everything the home inspector's going through.
And what they're finding, right? That might be something to point out.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, you know, a broken window or something that maybe we just didn't necessarily catch the first time we went through. So, yeah, again, I go back to the best way for that home inspector to, don't you love Muskoka? We have a few bugs here. We have to have them take a picture of it. They can do it again over an email and send them the report. And the other thing we could do is have the purchaser come for the last few minutes of the home inspection time.
Right.
And have
And
them
so-
just get pointed out to those, you know, few little,
So just a kind of a
Tidbits.
overview and a briefing of the inspectors.
as opposed to being there for the whole time
Right.
frame.
Yeah. And of course, as you mentioned, inspectors take their notes and make the reports and send them to you digitally anyway nowadays.
Yeah.
So that's a great bonus right there. I know that the realtor
Yes.
has to be present during the inspection, home
Yes.
inspection, but the realtor can easily
Social distance.
Sit in
at
the
that
kitchen,
time. Yep.
you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Save
Yeah.
that. You know, I've been very known to take a book and just stay out of the way.
Yeah.
And then we can easily.
Yeah.
get through
Unfortunately
that
for
quickly.
myself, I'm a kind of guy that really likes to follow the inspector through the
You
house.
like
so
to ask questions.
well,
as
and
you
I want to
go.
know for my client's
she,
own
or
sake.
something.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I want to know. I
absolutely.
want to, if there is a problem, I want to know myself so I can be
Well,
right on
you
top
need
of
to be
that.
able to explain it to
Absolutely.
your client.
Yeah. In,
So-
in layman's terms, because that's
Yeah.
the best terms that are understandable. So what about appraisals? Are they still taking place in person?
Absolutely. Bank appraisers can take reports and different things and get a lot of their information again quickly first, do all of the homework again
Yep.
digitally first, and then go in for a quick
All right.
view.
And then surveys, if necessary, are usually outdoor.
Yeah.
So that's kind of safe. The
Absolutely.
surveyor can show up on the property himself and come in. I would wonder that during this particular crisis, the COVID-19 times, that we would absolutely be expecting delays from lawyers, banks, and land registry offices getting these mortgages and moving
Yeah.
the money around. Is that a fact?
Well, I had a few deals at the very beginning, like where things were delayed by, a day because of the fact that they forgot the banks were closing a little earlier than they were. But I think things are starting to extend out now.
Okay.
Again, hours are being longer in the banks and institutes, and I think everybody's just a little bit more heightened and aware, so they're making sure that they do have those things organized and ready to go for closing day, and they're a little bit more on top of it. So again, it was a bit of a hysteria, mad rush at the beginning, and I think we're getting used to the groove now.
Yeah. So basically, as we said at the beginning of the show, real estate is an essential service. You can still buy,
Yes.
sell, and lease properties in Muskoka,
Absolutely.
but it isn't business as usual. And we all got to be aware of that. And for as long as this takes for us to get through this, we need to abide by those rules and regulations for the safety of everyone involved.
And things are going, Jerry. We are busy.
Absolutely,
So
yeah. Sharon, I just want to say thank you very much. Can you please give our listeners your contact information?
Sure. I am found at Sutton Group Muskoka Realty. My name is Sharon Bussa. It's spelled Busse. And my phone number is 705-783-8420.
Awesome. Thank you very much for coming in and talking to us today. I really appreciate it.
The State of Real Estate with your host, Gerry Lantaigne.
Well, normally the tip of the week is a tip about real estate, little ins and outs of things that you can do to help either sell or list your home or buy, and things to look for. But this week, during our coronavirus era, all I can say is that we just have to be patient. We all got to work together and take our time, abide by the rules. I know sometimes it's a little difficult, uncomfortable for some of us. These are the times that we're dealing with, and we all just have to bear down, and we'll get through this. We will get through this. Thank you.